Good evening, everyone. There's quite a few people that have found their way to this center.
You can find them on the right, and you will get needed translation. La même pour nos amis francophones, si vous ne comprenez pas le luxembourgeois, une traduction.
I will wait a bit until the people will take their headsets. As said, we have this reunion to present these projects. We also had a presentation about the floodings. The last time we also had we recorded this entire presentation in case somebody couldn't come, so that later on they may watch it on YouTube. This presentation, you won't have to take pictures. We will put this presentation available to you online. A few of you have already seen it. We have a few signs. And some of you are already interested and have already looked what we will talk about, and we will talk you through about these 3 projects. And later on, of course, you will be able to ask questions. And then outside, we will talk.
Schön gesagt, in am ganzen 3 Projets, 2 Stück davon, die betreffen tief Mobilität, wo man sich eng Nord-Süd-Verbindung wollen schaffen und noch für die nächste Sicherheit zu garantieren.
We will also talk about the cyclists and pedestrian ways for for the city Ischel and Amwenke. And then we also have canalizations problems with rainwater from Rue de Marmar all the way to Rue de Strasse. And then we will talk about when we will start the constructions, because this is something that will interest all of you. Because we will have noise, dirt, and discomfort, and we will try our best to do this as comfortable as possible. We have 3 projects combined this evening, because we will do those together. The timing is very important here. You will see this why in the presentation. Also, why this presentation? If you also see the budget, we talk about more than 20 million euros that will be invested. And we will present this as good as possible so that everyone understands how we spend this money and that you can go home comfortably. And later on, we'll go through the rows with the microphone, and don't hesitate to ask questions. This is why this evening is meant for. I want it to be short, and now I'll give on the word to Schröder. And we'll go through the different projects now. I have notice that the microphone will cut if you don't hold it. So now I took this one so I can hold it. Good evening. I'm happy to present you this evening. And later on there will be 2 of our officers that will take over to present the projects. Those from our offices and also the main man from the construction site. The evening is a longer presentation. I hope you have a lot of time. The sun will be gone by the time we end. It is already a big thing we want to present to you. This will be a lot of infrastructure constructions, and you will notice all these changes during the next few years. And we will see each other at the signs outside later on. Because a few details might not be included in this presentation. So that I could explain it to you later on, because it's quite complicated. And right now we will explain the overall situation. A few short terms to explain the history, but we want to improve your quality. We already talked about this in 2009, and we did a lot of workshops, projects, and we worked with finesse in 2009 to start all these projects. And 2015, they were constructed, built, and then later on in Rue de Leidling is new, and all of this was slowly put in place, and then we reached our end goal. But we will go forward. We had a rainwater canalization that we did not have included, and which is also not part of traffic problems. But if we have a center like this, we want to think about how we can improve the quality for the pedestrians and the cyclists, to have cleaner streets and more secure streets as well. And this is why we started to go more into the peripherals of this municipality. So last year we imposed the 30 zone in Bartringstrasse. People have to be ready, infrastructure has to be ready, and the infrastructure has to be adapted a bit for this. And this is where we had a little discussion with the people from Marmar. And the people were told about the results from the workshops. And this is the entire a bit of the history. We won't take anything away, but we want that the pedestrians and the cyclists will be able to move more securely and more attractively, so that not every journey has to be done with a car. What is it about today? Today it's about the railway, to cross it more easily and better. How will we cross better over the railway. So now we have two places where we can cross the railway at the P80, PN80. This is where we have the gates, and this is very often closed. We know that. And we have problems with security because people don't wait and don't follow the rules. And because all of this takes a long time, this is not good. And then the next one is a bit higher up. This is the bridge that goes above the train station. This is also where the bicycle got a bigger pedestrian walk. And then we have also the small walkway at the train station. At the extremities we have two connections. What is missing is in the middle, and this is where when I want to go from the north to the south, from the residential zone to the schools. And this is also way more interesting than the Mammerstrasse, where there's no crosswalk. And the left-right connection, that is the Rue Chemin de Fer. This is where the trucks and the vans drive through. And this is still an important connection. This is the way we use to get out of the center towards the city. So west-east connection will also be important. And then we have the entire thing that will be a bit more flowing. We have in the middle, we have number 2. And then also from left to right, the number 3 from Rue de Marmont. And we want to create a secure crossing without gates or unsafe crosswalks. If you look a bit closer in the zoom, we can see a bit in the detail the distance between the different connections. Tomorrow that would be the gate crossing. There will be underground crossing. And the idea is, if the gate is closed, that I have an alternative way to cross, and then just have it right in front of them. So this is why they're so close next to each other. And then the red one is the connection from Aline-Marie Saint-Hubert to the Calais Café towards the center, where we'll then guarantee the north-south connection in the middle. We should be 350 meters away from the train station. And if I live in between those crossings, it will be quite complicated, and this is why we take the car, and this is why we do this connection in the between, to avoid taking the cars. And this is here we have the mobility projects. This is in the Rue Schwall, where we have the railway in between the two streets. And this is where we will have the connection 130 meters left. The blue is the field, the area of the project. And the goal is to offer a safer alternative to the PN80, where kids can go safely to school, and if the PN80 is closed, we can just walk through there and bring our bikes with us as well. I went a bit too fast.
Touch the button too often. So the barrier in the direction on the right, if it's open, then of course wants to stay at the Rue de Mama, stays there, and they just take the normal passage. If we go from the European school, from the high school for ma mère, I can just go to the underpass as well. The bike will probably take the pin 80 when he sees that it's open, because we take an underpass primarily for the pedestrian, but the bike, and however along the stairs can be taken with him, also works. Then the barrier closed, I can then go to Mama Street. I can decide, do I want to wait there for 5 hours, depending on which direction the train is coming in. I don't know it actually, except if you know the plan. And then I can go to Rue Schwalb by the underpass and then to City Winkel, or immediately direction to Mama Stroß, to the center. That is actually the alternative I have. So to detail, we go into the plan. I have some issues here with my remote. You don't recognize a lot. That's not the idea. I think the plans are hanging outside. Have a look. But basically, with an ouvrage, meaning that with a frame that is built, we go under the train tracks, and to the north and to the south we build stairs and a lift. That's the whole story around it. And it's compatible that if along needs and through the years, ramps could be added for bikes. We build it as such that we would have a plan B to upgrade it. But today it is we need some authorization from the CFL, where the signals are that would hinder something. So the things we would have to do would be costly, and as we said, the PN8 is just close to it, and the bike can already get down with the stairs, and with the lift already have the possibility, and we shouldn't make the project more complicated than already it is. So we came to this choice to limit it to stairs and a lift. The ouvrage itself, what is underneath the train tracks, has 32 meters of length, and inside it's 2.90 meters size. So if I dare as a pedestrian, I still got some space, and the width is 3.50 meters. It's nothing very small, because we want people to feel comfortable. Also, it's well lighted, so people should not be scared to go through. Of course, it's also always an underpass, but it's so close to houses. We think that so many people go through that you feel surveyed and not alone, because it's not somewhere in the fields, you see. How does the construction sites work? It's such in Ruchval, that is actually, the red one is still a work site, and the blue is a hole. It's such something we have to build in order to realize our staircase. And to the north here, the green is the frame in a hole. It's built in a hole. First, the hole is excavated, then inside the frame is built, and then over 1 weekend, where the tracks are removed, we put it through. I show you a picture so you can recognize it. That's why we need this space to build the frame. The underpass is actually the underpass you go through afterwards. We are in the middle of the city with the soul, meaning that first we gotta do some reinstallations. We have a white sidewalk close to it. The final project, the street will be changed. It will regain some space, the street, but during the construction we will have less space to drive past it. As you can see here, with one lane, we drive, it's a dead end. Back there are maybe 12 houses, a dozen houses left. And in our opinion, it's possible if somebody sees another around the corner or not, is coming from the front. If nobody comes, you can just pass, and you don't, we will maybe install a priority sign as priority, but we think that with the few cars in this dead end, you'll get along. We need the space, as I said, to make the construction. Afterwards, the hole is filled up and it's as before. This is in final, what it resembles to in final. As you can see, the staircase. For us, it is going around the corner 90 degrees. It's not so far, but I want especially to show this detail. If you get down with the bike, you already know it from other projects. Just along with you, you can take it with you. If it's an electric bike, it's a bit more to push. Or, as I said, you just take the lift or the Mama-Stroß. If it's a cargo bike, you won't take the lift because there's no lift that is large enough for a cargo bike. This is actually an example of a frame that is built along the tracks. There you go. And then actually you have to imagine there were tracks before the weekend, in this case, before it was built here in Living. It was the case. And then comes this famous weekend between Friday and Monday, prolonged. I think it's Allerheiligen 27. We see the planning afterwards. Then the tracks are removed from Friday to Saturday, and then Saturday evening this is pushed inside. It's too far. Okay, let's get back. There the frame is already pushed back in, and then we fill it up with dirt, tracks of it, and then from Tuesday on the train can drive again. The Monday is actually a holiday, so we can't do magic, and is already great that we can build it up in such a short frame of time. Here we see images what the final situation resembles to, so you can imagine better. Here is from the Rue Cheval, looked up, Rue de Marmer, viewpoint, and then the stairs go down. This is the lift from behind, and this is the street itself. By the colors, you want to make a meeting zone. You can recognize the sidewalk. We planned, this zone. This is from the other side, the viewpoint. You can see the stairs going down. Set up some banks. The pedestrian should have priority, and the car should cross this zone. This from City Winkel. There's also a staircase that's going down left to right. There's garages. This public ground. That's where we built. And on the other side, we've seen before. And this is from above, from bird's view. This is from Rue Cheval, and underneath there's this frame, and that's where we get out. And then I can easily access City Winkel or go to the left. And then let's speak about the planning. When do we go to the construction to your streets? For those who live there, February 27 it should start. And we've planned in June 28 to have finished. It doesn't take years, but it's still something. We haven't completely finished, and even though for the ouvrage should be usable by summer, in the zone we have still canal work going on, and on the surface of the street it will not be completely finished, and then it goes to overtime, where the surface of Ruchwal or the canal work respectively will be redeveloped. North of the train tracks will be added, and that's why we have two different colors. Ouvrages said summer 28 and then April 29 we should be completely through. This is the detail. Why do we know this month so exactly? Because with CFL you already fixed the dates. Easter break, alle Vakanz, not only what a weekend, but entire weeks. Even Easter break were accorded to us. We don't need them necessarily for this construction, but we combine it with road closures because they do different work, not only in Bertrange but also. But we profit this moment for those FF reserved, because if this construction are not undertaken, we can do it in Bertrange. That's why we strictly respect them. If we don't catch these dates, we are months late. It's the first project. At the bottom you sometimes see numbers, maybe it's small, where we are at, the slide number if you got a question to a certain slide. Maybe now it's a bit late, but you can ask a question afterwards, else I'm just going back to it because I wanted first to go through before you asking a question. So as said, afterwards we have a discussion about all the projects. The second project, mobility project, is this footbridge in the middle, Alin Mayrisch down Rubert to City Eschels. Here once again the history. So the train divides. What do we do? The red connection is above the tracks. Why? Just by topography it fits, because the city at the north is a bit more elevated. If you go down to Rue Chemin de Fer, then you continuously drive downwards. So at a certain point we start going up from the tracks, and on the other side we get down behind the hill, not on the hill but the side towards the train tracks. That's why just by topography it fits. And then we have additionally the chance that through this we can create two bike connections. Once the original connection that for Mama comes south of the tracks, and then PC 13 Rue de Romain, where this also works. And through this I can already say it, through the ministry we elaborated with the ministry. Once you get connected to a national connection, you get subsidies accorded, and we're in the final phases. We still wait for the final post, and we assume that after some conversation that the municipality will be paid by the state, because we do it in the interest of the bike and better infrastructure in general. Beyond the municipality. This project belongs more, I've only spoke about PC 13, Rue de Romain. We want to profit of the fact that in Rue de Romain it's already narrow, but there's a lot of traffic going through, that the bike will get accorded more rights. We will reduce the tempo. It's already 30. We won't reduce the tempo, but want to establish some additional measures. We did some measures, for instance, that cars drive a bit slower. Some people are annoyed, but others that were annoyed by too fast driving cars will have a relief. There you see the connection. I got to search it for myself. It's this down into City Umpash, and this is a way. If you don't know that it exists, you already cross it without noticing. You already got to be from here to know that this exists. This point will be reevaluated, will be connected. If I drive Here, with the bike, I'm immediately in the street. It's a narrow sidewalk, and we want to improve it. Here's Rue des Romains. From Rue de Marne, it's divided in two, so as to be big enough to the right. And then here, I'm in the connection down to the city, where we make the street narrower to one lane, but the bike will get the possibility to drive across the sidewalk and then to make the way more secure. We won't end up anymore at the narrow sidewalk, but on a wide surface, and then I can take the turn. This is a foot bridge that we want to show you soon. We want to connect the different streets cleanly to the network. You can maybe notice it, some Sinusknuppen. Those are those that we already installed in the Rue de Mama, where you drive above and it shakes the car up, and then automatically you drive slower. Then Mama Street itself, plateau, the vicinity of the crosswalk over the project for the whole intersection. So there you go. Then PC 13, we spoke about it. We go down the Cité Umpage, Rue Aline Meyrich, Saint-Hubert, and then we go to the footbridge at the point 2. Then we go over to the southern area across the Rue de Chemin de Fer, and then 90 degrees turn to the left on Rue Denon, and here Rue Ischels on 2 points we can connect. You can see, for instance, at number 3, here at Calais Cavé, you see the small sidewalk. It's good to have a small walk. It is on a hill, we won't touch it. The green belonging to the houses will remain there, and the other part we will use for our footbridge. There you go. Yeah, what do we do in the upper part before we speak about passerelle? And this is the narrowing here for PC 13 in the Rue de Romain. As I said, to better connect to this path where briefly ago trees were replaced, they were put back further away. We'll explain to you why. It's not because of the car, but because of construction. Then we drive down to Saint-Hubert. We don't have space on the side, paved up. It's private parcels. And from the Trafon that is standing there before the street is splitting up, we drive across to the what is now still a sidewalk, and then in the bottom part from this part on, we will drive to the footbridge, and the sidewalk is just continuing from the footbridge. We can connect to PC 13 cleanly, so that the network to the north is better. Then we continue the passerelle. Then Michel may come, Michel Bichler, that is the engineer for us for the footbridge. The person from the underground was excused for today.
Thank you for the word. I'm here for the footbridge. I'm the engineer for Schröder Associé. I have the chance to be part of this project since the beginning. So here we have a bird view of this bridge. It's a bicycle bridge with a pedestrian, so that both of them, we will have to make enough space so that both of them may pass each other. And we also want to include the people with reduced mobility, so that they may also have a secure crossover. And those are both very close to the road, and we also wanted to put it very close to the railway so that you don't have to go far away. And we also had to make a lot of space so that we have enough space for the bicycles. Also, we had to make a ramp that is high enough to go above the railways. And we have here on the railways a minimum distance of 6.50 meters, which we have to oblige to. What we proposed and what was also accepted is that we build a bridge made out of steel, and this will enable us to build this bridge way faster than building it with concrete, and it will be easier, and also regarding tolerance, we'll have more freedom. I don't want to be too technical, but integral construction, you have to understand that a bridge has a certain length, and because of change in temperatures, it will contract or expand. So like a bridge will be able to deform by a millimeter. So we have a bridge here of 150 meters, and there will be a change in form, and this is why we'll build it on a flexible rubber material so it can move. And here we are trying to reduce as many joints as possible to avoid these changes. We'll also have we will avoid metal supports, so to allow it to have more flexibility. And then we will try to build it as soft as possible so that it will be able to move around. But with toughness, we want this bridge be flexible. But when you walk over it, you won't notice it, don't worry. But this is a certain method we use. Jean-Luc also described the plan. We start on the north. We will generate our ramp as high as possible. 4.80 meters we have to guarantee. And we'll be a few meters higher, because above the railway we have to have, at the railway we have to be above 6.50. And then this is the specific way we'll go past Croix Rouge, Red Cross. And then the southern part, we will lay the bridge next to the Tolu. And then we can see that there is already the way, which is already sitting there. And then we'll just connect the bridge to this path. This is another image where I can explain it a bit better. This is a bit on the horizontal view, where you can see the height of 6.60 meters, and also between the two elevators we'll have incline of 2% for the reduced mobility people. and this will give us a bridge of 165 meters. Visually, this bridge will be dominated by more narrow part. You can see on the picture that what we proposed, that most of it will be done in stainless steel, inox, and here we'll need a protection with a change of system, and we'll go actually between the elevators, which are transparent here, but we will try to adapt them to this glass, plexiglass. And then we also have the third case where we will go past the few gardens of these houses. And we also want to improve the site. And we want to have this translucent panel. And then we want to have a small transition from translucent to opaque. And then we'll have a opaque screen so that the person on the bridge might have the feeling to be narrowed down, and to also allow the person to have the possibility to orientate themselves and look around. And then this is also to adapt to the situation for the people. So we want to guarantee the site security. And then we have the minimal distance, which is 1.3 meters. And then we also have the other rail, which will have to be 1.80 meters. And here we will have the change in translucence. We also show, you can see on the picture, the different versions of the rails. We also have here the cut 1. This is cut 1, where we'll be up on the footbridge, and here we'll have the walkway. Here are the vegetations which we will leave, and which also create a slight site protection. And then we also create a opaque rail so that people won't look over it. And then we also have towards the train rails that we need to have 3 meter distance between the poles of the train rails, which has also shown us this indication. I was a bit too fast. So here we have the cut a bit further to the Red Cross, And this is the pathway which goes over the footbridge. And here we'll have also the vegetation that will remain there. Also, as said before, we have the pathway here, and then here the footbridge, and then we'll have here the elevator, where you can take the elevator to go down, or which will also tell us why we'll be higher here than there. So the way will go down here, this path, which was 2 meters, and it will transition to a pathway which is 3 meters, and which then follows down to the street. From this situation, we want, with this way, to generate direct access to the elevator. So if something happens on the bridge, that ambulance or firefighters would have direct access to this elevator. And also for the maintenance of the elevator, so that they can also repair the elevators. So to make this possible, we have here cut down a bit, and what will be replaced here is that we'll put a wall, anti-sound, anti-noise, and this is also what we have done a bit of studying about this to see what this wall would have to be able to block. Here again, we have the anti-noise wall, and we want to have a green wall, green protection, which will then also, this will be a metal construction which will be put in the ground, and this will put a lot of weight on the ground. So we also have a more effective, if you see on the highway, they are less stronger than what we recommend here. And to be able to build, we also have to put a certain surface area to availability for the constructions. So we have here the zone of installation where they will be able to put their materials. Here on the bottom, where there's currently, I think, a playground or football field. And the access for here on the top is a bit less problematic, because we have access. But here for the ramp, it will be a bit more difficult. And we want here to facilitate the access so that the constructors will have quicker access, and that so that they can enter with their vehicles and work. And the second option is that he will enter down there. The best option is to have an entrance and an exit for the construction site, which will facilitate the organization for the construction. So we actually have a few foundation works we have to do, and this is where the metal working will be placed, because we'll have to place them before welding them together. And this is where we get the advantages of the steel, because we'll have to be able to transport these in big parts. And you have to imagine that there will be a huge crane which will then pick up the different parts and then place them together. And this is where we talk together with CFL to organize where we lift these parts. So first step is we set them, and then we weld them together. When these metal parts are picked up, there will be big cranes that will pick them up. I don't know. I think in September on the A3 there was a similar footbridge that was picked up, and this is also why we also have, I might have forgotten that part, but we have here the installation zone for the construction site. So we'll close this road halfway, and we will need, though, for the picking up the big elements, the entire surface of the road, so that he can maneuver his parts. And this is also when we will close the railway, because this will be a timely limited period where we'll have this extreme situation. But the objective for us was to allow people to go through the construction, and there won't be anything closed on long term. This is pictures that will we try to be as realistic as possible. This is a bit of a 3D feeling of how it will look like, and we can see that the bridge is dominated by the two elevators, and then we can also see the protection screens, and where also the transparency will play. Here you can see where it will be more opaque on the left side. Here you have the view from the top of the bridge. One's from the Rue Aline Meyrich, Saint-Hubert. One's from above the CFL. And another view from top. One's from the walkway, which will be the emergency exit from the elevator, which will have the width of 3.50 meters. This is the planning. So we wanted to start at the beginning of September. So actually, until there, we have time to prepare ourselves, so that in September we will pick up the metal parts, and then later on we'll put on the rails and the safety screens. The bridge will be put up with temporary side protections so that the workers will be protected, so that during the phase 2 we'll put the real rails on the side. So this is where we'll have to close to take away the temporary protection. And then phase 3 is where we'll do the rounds.
Thank you, Michel. You can see that Michel is really burning for the project. He's all into it. That's why I didn't want to stress him. We still got some things ahead, but you can still ask your questions. But it was well that it was explained in detail. What does it mean to build such a footbridge? It's not only a line on a piece of paper. Then the last domain to divide into two parts. Madame Bingen explains us the projects of the rainwater access. She comes from the services Moses MOP and has created this with her service. Thank you for the parole. I can speak about something where you normally can't speak about. The channel that is normally disappearing in the street. Some history around it. Why we do this rainwater access. It's such that the project has started by this, the idea rainwater access to set it up initially. Excuse me, wrong button. So initially we thought about making rainwater access that starts back up here and goes straight to the center. Why do we build such a rainwater access? Once to external areas, surfaces that are outside of the building, have no building permit to connect it to rainwater. The clean water that is there, you don't put it in direction to the cleaning plant, but you store it. As well, because there's more built, and if you add new building permits, it is built so that the dirty water is separated from the rainwater, and these new districts can targetedly be rediverted to a rainwater access, so it won't get into the mixed water canal. With the more and more intensive rainfalls, it was clear that the center of Bertrange has problems and is more and more victim. Our office was asked what you can plan in order to make the targetedly relieve the center. Channel concept was elaborated, as you can see on the slide. To understand the slide, we speak of 3 different zones, meaning that there are 3 different original zones where the water is coming from and where it is diverted to. There are also different phases. They are about how we work. There's a first phase that concerns the work that begin in summer, a second phase that concerns work later on. The first phase considers only Zone 1. Zone 1 is the yellow one, meaning that this is the one that is coming from Mid-Tobon in the new flat district down here, Rue Mama, Rue de Romain, through the street Raline Marie Saint-Hubert and through Chemin to Riedstraße to connect here. Here, in this part of the Albach to Rue Chemin de Fer, there's already a canalization for rainwater, but with the new concept it's not large enough and will be expanded. What is it currently that in a later phases we add a second axe, this from the center, from the south here top there, in the intersection with Rue de Kim. From here, there's no connection point to the x-axis, but only down here, the intersection with Rue Chemin de Fer in Rue Charles Schwamm. This because we have here a second zone, that's where the water comes down from Rue Kem, from Rue Charles Schwam. This meets here in this intersection. Here in the second phase, with a building that allows us to make a debit, meaning the water that is collected to divide it. There's a debit, we fix the debit, it can go towards Rue Chemin de Fer. It is planned that the canalization that is still there has enough capacity. But now if more water than we can redivert comes, then it will be diverted to Rue de Mama here in Zone 3. Also here we divide it again with the target that the water is not only diverted to Beirut but from 2 points, so as to make it better redistribute. The objective of this concept is that targetly we relieve the canalization and that the rainwater can be divided. And to more concretely speak about the tasks that are in the first phase is Rue de Chemin de Fer, top to Rue de Mama. As being said, we expand once the already current rainwater system. Then the additional rainwater canalization in Rue de Romain to Rue de Montmartre. It's the new dwelling, the new buildings, so we can already connect them to the new buildings correctly, and additionally relieve mixed water capabilities. Now the question may appear, why not on the whole trace we redevelop, but only partly in Rue de Mama and Rue de Romain, as we have less water in the mixed water system. This channel by capacity is still okay. Still, we looked at the state of the canalization, and it came to our attention that only in Rue de Mama and Rue de Mama there are problems that it's not completely sealed. Maybe roots already found their way. There may be some holes. So we only redevelop that's very necessary. On the other hand, we looked at what belongs, what about rainwater canalization targetly. We looked at where to re-strengthen the network. It's only in Rue Mama, Rue Chemin de Fer and Rue Strasse. This is the case. To depict this, we are here in Rue de Romain, meaning we have here the case that the two axes are developed, rainwater and mixed water canals, to depict once what about the passage, why partly we gotta close the streets is because we work in the mid of the street. Now you could say, yeah, you could put it a bit over. No, but here in the Rue de Romain, at the site we have many trees, and we looked at maintaining the trees. And now we gotta respect some distance to some already current networks, meaning gas channels, electricity channels. We also have the problem here that once we gotta cross the channel, leading to the fact that intersection points from one channel we gotta go to another or underneath, what makes the whole tasks more complex. So we will therefore just completely cut off the streets in order to work faster. In the Rue de Romain, in the street area, we won't touch a lot, only local measurements. But at the end, we do a couche de roulement, we develop the final layer of the street. Here's an extract of the plan you can also see outside. We are in the intersection area, Rue de Strasse and Rue de Chemin de Fer, wants to show what is being planned. We not only have the rainwater canal that is here, channel, but we also have deleting the old rainwater channel that is taken out of order. We have a rainwater channel that is put up in place here. In Rue de l'Industrie, we also got a part of drainage, mixed water, also creates profits to implement a new target is placed here, and additionally we also got the redeveloping. To show you what we have in the soil, in the ground. There you go. Yeah, you have a side card, what the channel looks like from chemin de fer already. Excuse me. No chance. So, let's get back. Once we have the already existing mixed water channel that we don't touch, and here the existing rainwater channel. That is not very low, two reasons, because we got to connect to the current. We can't go lower, but we have to pay attention to, at the same time, the channels that are here, 1.20 meters still cross it. We decided to not take a round profile but an oval, because it's wider and less elevated, and through that we gain some centimeters when we cross the other networks. And we decided to use a different material, meaning not classical concrete but PAB, what means fiber optic. Because wind strength is stronger, we gain some centimeters once again, and faster you can put it in place. I come back to these slides to show what we have under the ground, what we do. If the slide jumps back, I show you what we do on the street. There you go. We are in the Rüdstraßen, in the transition area from National to Rüdstraße. What we do here, the transition area from National to Rüdstraße, visually adapted to show that you go to a secondary route. There's also an adaptation that the bike cross here, goes to the side part, will be directed to a sidewalk, chemin mixed, mixed usage sidewalk. So we can drive down here to chemin de fer. Also punctual adaptation, the already existing way will get wider. The concept extends to the intersection area with Rue Mama. Here we will continue that bike can use on the mixed usage sidewalk. We also have planned some hills to appease the traffic. We have planned a lot of work, the street, because we make the street here narrower and the sidewalk wider. There you go. Thank you, Anne. You see, these are complex stories, that's why I let her explain, because I don't get everything. I prefer the simpler plans. Whereas it won't be so easy now on either. There will come some data. And what about the history? Because we gotta try to consolidate all the projects, and especially these projects, the channel works. Of course, the surface above it means that we got to close some streets for certain time. Closing them means that the inhabitants always have the right to access their homes, are able to access also firefighters. This is absolutely guaranteed. However, the street is officially closed off, and it can happen that for some houses you can't access your garage if they're more complex and deeper work you will get informed, but this is the standard for every construction site. Every week there are construction site reunions. 8 uur vannacht, you can stand up. This is the man that for some years he will sit here, basically. Exactly, the poor guy. So that the work site is accompanied by a entrepreneur that is working there. But every week there's a construction site reunion where we speak about the details for following week. Maybe it's more than once a week, but that's a detail. But you as residents can also come to such a reunion. There are fixed timetables, the same time, the same weekday, so that you come there and listen and tell about your projects you haven't cleaned up, for instance. So constructively you can discuss. Here is then the whole overview about the concerned streets in blue, where the excavator is coming and does infrastructure work in deep and on the surface partly. And then in yellow and in violet, the underpass that you have seen before once again. Partly Aline-Marie Saint-Hubert, we work on both. We got to get along, and that is built started in the planning. Both at the left, there's some to go through the entire construction site. We start in August, the 20th this year in 26. Then goes relatively fast after collective time off. The work starts of the Channel Street in Aline-Marie Saint-Hubert and in Rütstrasse, and then until end of the year. Then you'll see that there's no work yet, but if you have listened to everything before, there was some project, I think it was at the bottom here, Rue Charles Schwab, the channel work finished April 29. Then we're done with everything. The start is this area. What about if we got constructions there? As such, in Aline-Marie, closed off is actually the bike path that leads up here. The connection to Rue de Romain is closed. Addition to one space where there are the parking slots, one side is closed. So you get out to Rue de Chemin de Fer, and the only thing that is also closed off is Rue de Strassen. I can't get up to the roundabout, actually a phase that is not very complex. Then we start in autumn. The yellow shows the time of the footbridge. Doesn't always impact the street itself, but you see until June 28, the footbridge is also under construction. And during this time we work on the passerelle. In blue this is deep work, and green is on the surface. We saw before that the street is closed off here, then it's in on the surface, meaning that the street is not finished yet, but up here we have already finished in Rue de Romain, that is however closed. Why do we have the red arrow here? This is where the trees are deplaced, so that we, with the car, we can get out, drive out, because Rue des Romains is closed. Because here we can't drive up on the contournement, and you don't have to drive additional. We will clarify how we get out, but at the first instance that's what we've decided. It could be that we only do it the phase later. Namely here, where in the intersection area is also closed, the train station. And if I can't get out at all in direction to Bourg-Mischt city, we think that it would be good if in this upper part would be open to the pedestrian walk to get out to Rue des Romains. We saw that the city is connected, and we wait. Shouldn't be that many people that come from the city, drive through, will pay attention, but actually it's meant for the residents, so they can get out of their district without taking long detours. There you go. Here in N28, from 26 to 27, and then we continue 27 till mid of 27. The first whole rue de chemin de fer, the channel, the oval channel, will be set up, and then Rue de Strassen will be opened again. Doesn't matter a lot because I can continue at the bottom. And then Rue des Romains, at the beginning of the year it's closed. Then from January, February, then at the top it's still open to get out of your district. Then the moment comes in February 27, another construction site will be added. We are currently doing footbridge, the underpass Rue Choual, and still Rue Chemin de Fer, and still Rue des Romains. So, of course, for traffic, there's no large effect, because Rue de Cheval, you can always access it. And we got a solution for the residents, for the city, that we can get out over Rue des Romains, or at the bottom, direction Rue de Mama, of course, not direction train station. And then when in the next phase, we make the surface of the Rue de Romain, and in the next phase is the street that is reopening, if my button works. Then in the next phase, where Rue des Romains has reopened, as being said, Rue de Chemin de Fer, at the beginning at least, will be closed off. This time, mid-27, or after Easter, it's about Rue de Mama. This work site takes about channel work, other networks, will until end of next year, from April to winter, we'll work there in depth. Then in summer, in the meantime, will be done, and street will reopen. If we work in Rue de Mama, we got the advantage. We only work in the northern part. I may haven't seen it. As when you saw the channel, we only buy the first phase of Anne's channel. The second phase is this 2030 plus. Somewhere later, there's no urgency. And we wanted to not add something up in regards to budget, but also to your comprehension. We are in a comfortable width of street, so we can always remain it open, except if we do traverses of the street punctually, but actually it's always open. And you gotta have a look if we work in one lane street, but it should always be accessible because it's narrow enough, wide enough. We live in this phase, still connected to the city via this route, because the Rue de Chemin is still closed. Then the surface is developed, and once we have finished this, then there's some time frame. The bottom part is completely closed off of the city. It's always so the time. We get to the year 28. We go to the left part of the Rue de Chemin de Fer, and given the channel, but also the footbridge, we have a certain time it's closed off, and then the city is only accessible via this, and then we are in the final phase of Rue de Mama. That's why it's green, and as such you can actually access Rue de Chemin de Fer from this area, but you can completely use Rue des Romains.
And now from Rue de Mama, this rue is almost done. I won't talk too much about this, But you can see it's already a different street than today. You can also see that if there are some stoppers on the sides, we will also towards the entire length 30 kilometers per hour. We have put it a bit higher so that people drive slower than 50, but it won't bang at 50. We didn't want a straight line, so like a bit wavy, and 30 kilometers per hour. We will also add more green. We also added a straight line for the cyclists, but so that for the cyclists I don't really have to take the mixed road. You can see here we will add some trees where the cars will be able to park as well, and where we'll also have some water drainage. The goal is also to reduce water problems. Now we'll be more towards the end. We'll work towards the middle part of Rue de Marmore, because this will be the second phase of the channel works, and we still have constructions here at the bottom on the ground, and at this moment the residents will have to go through the fields to leave, and this will only affect the houses from Rue Charles de Cheval, and this will be from the 9th of September 2028 to the end. And then also we have for each phase the school buses and also the line bus, the regular buses. And we have here Rue de Strassen, which is closed, which will have the first phase of the channel constructions. We'll displace the bus stop to the roundabout. The pedestrians will have to walk further away from the train to the bus stop, but we couldn't have done anything about this. Then the bus line R from the city will drive the same, but some stops will fall off, but it will still drive the same from Font-Rue up. And then we also have the school bus, and the school bus will go up at the Follero, and then Belle Étoile, and then back down into Rue de Marmore. I mean, there are no other ways for you don't have to bring your kids now to school, but this is still doable for. And then also to close for the cyclists, when we have to have the authorization from the city when we close a national bicycle lane. So now we thought about an entire deviation that will start at Marmore, but for this we'll have to talk about with Pont et Chaussée. and we will also need some authorizations, and we didn't really talk about this in details with Projets. And there might be more than just one possibility. Okay. The entire operation here costs quite a bit to the municipality. Thank you a lot to help us with planning this project. And this takes a lot of work to optimize it for the residents and the municipality. And this is also why we have reunions and also informational projects. So we have an entire of 21 million euros, which 6 million is for the footbridge, the water channel, which costs 10.6 million, where we'll have a few subsidies for the rainwater access. And then for the last, we have the entire phases for all the constructions with all the colors and every road that is concerned with the dates. I also want to say thank you to Max, who has worked a lot on this presentation. Thank you. I would sit down now and we can discuss now. I would like to take a word. I would like to say thank you very much for this group work. We worked a lot, spent many hours on this. We were also in the council quite picky, because this also has a reason, because we know our residents, and this is also why we questioned ourselves quite a lot, and to make sure that all the inhabitants would accept this. And now we are quite excited about your returns. I know that a few of you have a lot of thoughts about this, and we also want to know if you're happy with this, with all these constructions. We know that the constructions will have some disadvantages and discomforts, but we will try with Bureau Schreider to reduce noise as much as possible. There will be moments when you will be mad at us, but for the rest, if there's throughout the phases, if you have any questions or if you have any advices, we will try to calm you down as much as possible, so that you may sleep as comfortably as possible. If there's anyone who has questions, we'll give you the microphone. Can I also ask my question in German? As a mother and as a motorcyclist and a cyclist as well, I want to say thank you very much for all the background explanations. I used to belong to the European school parents who imposed themselves and begged for this project. We also hope that these ramps would be for cyclists, for which we could actually also cycle on and not just push the bikes. I mean, back in the days, my kids went to school with a lot of fear, and a lot of parents as well. And not only because they had to go, because it was very complicated for all of us on the road. I want to say thank you very much. Could you please, I mean, from what I understood, that this ramp footbridge will be quite costly. Could you go into detail a bit more there? I mean, you said that there will be a special gap for us to push the bicycles up the stairs. I mean, for that you would have to reduce the incline of the stairs a bit more. I mean, it's also about the width, because a few of the cyclists have cargo bikes. Would you maybe consider these situations, that with the pushing of the bike up the stairs will be a bit more comfortable? I'll continue in Luxembourgish. Thank you to the translators. It's not always easy to translate. Of course, we are a lot considering the ramps for these projects. We also talked to the ministry and to CFL about the ramps, and they said we should just let it go. It's not about the containers, but it's the problem is the electric cables. This is why we have to have 3 meter on. We had these containers of 3 meters cubed, and they didn't know where to put them. So this is why there's an entire security system of the railways connected to this container. And this is exactly where the foundation would be for this. And we thought that what this would affect on the effects of this change would affect the railways. We would have technical issues, and this is why we placed the stairs in this specific way. And this is also why we removed the ramps. And all these ramps, because we wouldn't be able to put them technically and also financially. Because also CFL wouldn't have followed us on this. It might be doable somewhere in the future, but right now, we don't see. on the stairs we can't really change anything. There is a standard which is placed by the PMR law. A stair has to have a specific depth and width and height. I can't change the length of the stairs because there is this standard, and this is the only standard they authorize. And this is also the normal stairs I want from the CFL. And this won't fit for the cargo bikes or with different types of mobilities. And we would expect the parents to be present as well with the kids. We know it's not the most comfortable way, but this is where the majority of people have participated. And CFL kind of stopped calculating because there was a few tens of millions above the budget. I mean, for the moment it's not included, but maybe in the future we could consider. I would like to add a few information. We have the question also, why did you choose this location? It's actually very simple. We have to look at the fields which are owned by the municipality. And if you look at the fields, we were quite limited. And there was quite a few property issues, and it was kind of difficult to get to these properties. It is quite simple. These projects are meant for the safety of the cyclists and the pedestrians. And we're also convinced that with these solutions we presented today, we have solved a lot of issues. I agree with you, it's probably more comfortable if you could drive through, but we also actually, throughout this project, we tried to adapt this footbridge as much as possible, but because we would have had problems with the football field, because we would have actually exceeded the football field, and then we would have exited Donnery-Huron. But there's still a possibility to come through about the restaurant up to the Rue de Romain. But these are all possibilities. We would have to look at how long the gates are closed.
I have a question concerning the entry, Cité Ambush. You showed us here this part you speak of, the screens. However, on the other side, it has been spoken a bit about it. I had a look on the plans, and there's not a lot. Are you going to modify the talus, or are you going to sit on it? Because in the case where there would be a modification, that could bring with it some nuisances. And on the level of trash, will this change? It's also something City Ambush. Is it written in your plan? Is it only for pedestrians? And I would like to if there's also developments to avoid bikes to come from there, because there's no space at all. It goes to two private passerelles, and there's no space to pass by the bike. And this, regarding safety, this is on the level. However, only to explain to you, this is the slope, the existing, that we will maintain. We won't touch it. Only this slope next to the forêt, the trees have to be cut off from the calling up. We won't do anything about it. And as there's a worksite, we plan to redevelop it in order to have better quality to work on it after the construction site. But it will remain exactly there where it is now. We won't change the talus, the slope. But I gotta find the correct plan. Here is the talus, the slope. Here is the arrival of the passerelle in the north. It's along this, it's not on it, but it stays to the north. This is the small walkway existing, and today it does this and continues like this, does this. Today it is on the slope. We have taken the choice to lower it to the left. I can also speak in Luxembourg, excuse me, to drive down to the lift to reach region. At the beginning we left the way here separated from the other, but we found that if we do an access to the lift, this would be a dead end, meaning that I go there as a pedestrian and there's somebody behind me, worst case. Then I'm at the lift, it's not there, and at least like this I can escape. I won't end in a dead end. As a pedestrian I can walk there and to the hill, and that's why we don't need two ways parallelly. That's why we do it here. But here, if I don't want to go to the lift, I can just continue here and access the talus. I go down and to go up once again in Rue de la Chauve, where currently there's already the pathway and there's actually the entrance to get to the lift. So that today, as everybody walks first up and then down, as it is today, nothing that we leave. Only at this point, because we gotta connect, we take nothing away to make accessibility flat for wheelchairs, for instance. My question was for the other side, the small pathway, the one on the left. Let's take the first slide. Let's continue. It's there. We get back immediately. Okay, correct. That's what we've spoken about just now. Is the talus. Here we are high. On the talus, our passerelle footbridge descends here to the talus, and then slow and slow it goes to this direction to Cité du Nord. Or, as today, I drive down to enter the meadow. Will there be additional measurements to avoid bugs from passing through? It's 2 meters here. At such is actually a footpath, but I can't avoid if a bike will get down there. But the entrance is close to garage, is right? Yeah, here it's very narrow indeed. 1.50 meters even. It's narrow, yeah. Between the two parcels. And that's why we would be happy, why we are happy that we could include this pathway. We went into negotiation with Croix-Rouge, Red Cross, to get this ground. And I get out here at the schools. And here is actually only footpath connection. Of course, a bike if you want to drive there, but it's no priority route. I can't forbid anyone to take this. Won't be signed like this. We will have to do this installation of the worksite in this the hill that is existing. What about it during the construction? Shoot the hill, because you won't drive up there with your lorry and then down. No, we drive first. This piste has to be built. We will build it such that actually practically it's the way is pre-built as construction site access, and then I can drive there to this down here to the surface, and then here in the intersection that is above, right? This is the talus. Could be that with the construction we have to get a meter lower, but actually I'm as high as the talus. Then another question. To the north, we will remove all the trees, and it's nice now to have a walk down. But if you take it away, it will be naked. The other side of the tracks, will you replant some greens? Under the footbridge, I don't know if plants can grow there without the rain, right? We cannot between here put trees that afterwards will cover. Yeah, but maybe hedges. You can actually build low plants that can access water. Some eventually nothing will grow there under the footbridge. If you go across the way, it will, along with you, it will get up. Instead of the green, we have the footbridge. That's why this night. No, I like the way as it is today, right? It's the most pleasant one. Across the hill. No, you're right. It was also a concern of us, where in different variants we said there we won't convince people if we elaborate these variants. We said we got to try the intervention in this protection wall. That is the function, right? That we got to try to make this intervention as green as possible. Of course, as Jean-Luc has mentioned, once the passerelle is standing, there's no categorical no that we don't say we will replant something. But if it's standing, we can take action. Important point is for the houses where it crosses in its vicinity. There's also the side cover protection. It was not about finding a solution to overlook. We searched for something that is offering and integrates into building structure, and with the solution, hitherto, or the people are not standing on the bridge to look at your private ground, but if you cross it in winter, of course you see a bit more into the gardens of the people. We found a solution now that both for winter and summer is working, but of course it's less green, you see inside. But you are right, it's a nice walk path. Would be even better that if people are there with their dogs, they pick up the shit.
I also have a little question. You will say that a few roads will be closed. Will we be able to go there on foot, by foot, or surely you'll be able to go through by foot? But if you want to work on the street, we'll work on the street, but the sidewalks won't be affected. When we make new roads, we don't touch the sidewalks, but the pedestrian will always reach the train station. What we can also do now is that every pedestrian should be able to go to access their house. For the cyclist, it might be different for several phases. Also to say that for the situation with the crane, the road is not very wide, so that the crane might take over the entire road. Yeah, obviously there won't be anyone allowed to go under the crane. These are moments we'll have to pay a lot of attention. Good evening. I want to thank the woman that started a bit. join the movement that started with. I also have my kids that go to European school. My kids are going to leave now before the construction starts, but I want to thank you very much. The last reflection I want to say is that the football field and the parking lots, I want to say thank you very much to the municipality. I also want to understand that at the European school we have primary kids. I will never thank you enough. I mean, I love that my kids could go to this school without any cars on foot. But at the European school, we have a primary school. There's around 3,000 students, kids. I don't know how many there are in Strassen or Mameur or Bertrange that go to my European school. I'm a bit disappointed by the underground passage, which is not accessible to bicycles, because I still fear for my son who crosses over the rails every day, and I tell him that it's not very good. And there will always be happy people and disappointed people. And the bicycle will be very considered in the future, and we should consider it more often. I understand that it might be more expensive for a footbridge, but I see the number of bicycles that go past to the European school, and we would also maybe have to look at the end of the Rue d'Industrie. I want to say thank you very much. I want to say it again, it's not because of the financial reason, it's just because from the CFL we cannot do these constructions right now. It can now change, but for now it's a very complex story where we'll have to have a lot of discussions about bicycles and underground. This is why we did it so that later on it's still possible. I want to say the footbridge is a very good idea. I want to say that for the way from the side of the houses shouldn't have been done if the way for the people with reduced mobility is down there. I don't think it's that good, because we are removing green. I mean, I don't know if you understand, but it's a very inconvenience to remove the greens and to add a way behind the houses. This is a lot of attacking on the green, which we could avoid. I mean, the small elevator looks great, but walkways should remain walkways. If there should be another solution. Could we not avoid this? Because it does affect the people that live there, especially with the noise. I mean, actually, it was very clear with the ministry for the subsidies what the minimum standard is. And this situation is not doable for everyone. And this has been done so to allow everyone to use it. And there are always a minimum amount of comfort and norms we have to maintain. There might be someone that is accompanied by somebody who is not very mobile, and there must also be a specific width and height. Elevator also requires a lot of maintenance. There was always the way there, and it was smaller. And they told us that they won't be able to get to the elevator, and that it would be good idea and obviously the other two ways are very thankful if it's easier to get to these points. 2 meters 50 is the standard that we need, and for the constructions obviously we will have to remove green, but you won't lose that much more green for expanding when we expand the way. I think the gentleman wanted to know why didn't we avoid to put the elevator right next to the street instead of adding a larger pathway? I will repeat the question later. It is not only the ambulance, but it's also for reduced mobility to get but on the I just want to precise that before it was said that the way that before was in the brown, which is now in brown, will be extended more to the back, and the brown part will be obviously used for more green plants and vegetations, so that at the end we will improve on the part of this. I think we'll talk about this on detail later on, so that we might be able to understand easier. Are there any more questions? There's one more question. I just wanted to say that the bridge is 6 meter high. Why does it have to be so high? And can we not lower it? It's a European regulation that we need the 6.50 meter. From the railway to the bottom of the bridge, there is 6 meter. There might be some that have 50 centimeters or 75 centimeters lower, but this is not the new regulation. I wanted to ask, when we are always on the same place of the footbridge, the anti-noise wall, will it be placed after this construction or before the construction? How long will the construction last? I didn't understand acoustically a lot, but it was more about, are we going to open this here and then add the wall? Was that the question? How many trucks will drive through, we won't know. When we are standing on the footbridge, are we higher than the houses of the bridges, the roofs of the bridges? I don't know how high your houses are, but if you are 6 meters above the railway, but I think the properties over there are a bit lower than the railways. I would say that most of these houses have 2 to 3 floors, and that I would say 6.5 meters are 2 floors. This is also why we have this opaque screen, which will be 1.80 meter high, and that will stop people from watching over the bridge. And the number of trucks, we can't tell you. We can correct ourselves, but this will not be the main entrance points of the trucks, but this will be later when the footbridge will be put in place, that will try to go from the other side, and there will be truck traffic like every construction site.
Yeah, during this time there's no construction site. That is nuisance indeed. There's no protection of sound. We can put it up earlier to get circumvent the work. We can only set it up later in order to effectuate the work. And during the construction, yeah, there's a nuisance definitely. But the construction site itself is partly also the lorries. It's not only people that live here in the district, but they also cross some different place. Every construction site is a nuisance. All right. I think that we made the tour of questions. As in the beginning was announced, I would dearly invite you to a drink where we once again look on the plans more detailed and where you can always ask your questions. I see that some people have given up because it was quite long, it was intensive, but anyway, it was important to us to provide you the information in order to avoid that the project is not correctly understood. Thank you very much for taking your time. This format will be repeated in the future in order to bring new projects closer to you. Big thanks also to the team of Schroeder, the translators, and also the technicians. Have a nice evening. Thank you.